Greetings, folks. Welcome to another edition of After Hours. Today, in my virtual pub, I am joined all the way from Stratford, Ontario, Canada, by Connor Kuntz. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Tim. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. I basically spent all afternoon drinking beer and listening to Depeche Mode records, so I'm happy.
That's not bad.
No, exactly. I was supposed to be being useful, but it went out the window earlier.
Well, I mean, you need those days, right? Like every once in a while, just unwind and enjoy yourself.
Exactly. I was like editing for the last 2 or 3 days, and it's just like, no, I'm done. If I see another comma, I'm going to scream.
Just need to relax.
Exactly. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, you got to love that Pikachu.
Oh, yeah. It's a set piece. Just to start. We'll see what happens in a year or two. But
yeah, because you were just telling me you've just moved house then, yeah?
Yeah, so I moved about 40 minutes away from where I lived previously, so I'm just sort of in the midst of unpacking and all that. But,
you're living out of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, there's a lot of those laying around.
Fun that, isn't it?
It's fantastic. Hopefully we'll get it all sorted soon enough, and then we're ready.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've moved so many times over the years. It's just sometimes I have nightmares about putting all my stuff in boxes.
Oh yeah.
It's like I need
just packing up all your set piece back there. That's
yeah.
keeping it all organized and getting it. Make sure it's not tangled.
Yeah, this is it. Oh, you can't see the other side of the room. It's even worse.
So even more, huh?
It's even worse over there. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, what are you drinking this evening, sir?
So I have a little bit Molson Canadian. Just gotta keep it true to the.
Nice. I don't think I've ever had that.
I think it's your average run of the mill lager.
Yeah, you just sort of standard beer. Yeah.
And then a little bit of Jameson Irish whiskey there, just to make it a little sweeter.
Just give it a bit of an edge.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, you've got to give it. You're gonna love your chasers, haven't you?
Yeah.
So yeah. Tonight, basically, I want to talk a little bit. You fairly recently had a mini book released through Mannison Press called "Oh Sister, Where Art Thou," which a title I love because it's got that kind of, sister, where art thou? It's got that
throw back to the old Shakespearean.
Yeah, it's got that gravitas, hasn't it? Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so just tell me a little bit about it. How did it come about?
So that was the first story I ever wrote.
Really?
Yeah, actually, I was very
nice
surprised when it went forward with the printing. But I read a lot when I was younger, and then just sort of tapered off as the video games take over, as they normally do with teenagers. And then I picked it back up recently, and I just had this idea kicking around in my head about just an air rifle, and just that image was sort of very strange, right? I don't have one currently. I had a bunch when I was a kid, so maybe subconsciously something's there. But yeah, and from there it just sort of grew, and I sat down a Saturday afternoon and just at my kitchen table and just started writing it. And authors always say that the story writes itself, and I always thought that was a load of hooey, like it.
Yeah, it's not, man. I mean, it's the same with me. I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't write for something like 20 years or something. So, I was talking about late 30s. So, yeah, and then I just got an idea, and I just sort of went with it, and it just kind of kept coming. So I'm just going with it right now.
It just goes from there, and you just write the way,
Yeah.
And, I just submitted it to their original anthology, Little Girl Lost, I believe.
Oh, for Little Girl Lost, right? Yeah.
And
I missed that one, but because I didn't discover them until they did the sequel, Little Boy Lost, because I managed to get a story in that, and that's how I discovered them. So yeah.
So actually, sorry, it was that one
it was that one. It was Little Boy Lost, right?
And it didn't fit, but they really enjoyed it, so they wanted to make it one of their signature mini books. So
brilliant.
Went from there, and I'm like, yeah, sure, of course, do whatever you need to do, and I'm all for
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Craig. I was talking to Craig last time about that because that happened to him, Craig Crawford.
Really?
Yeah, he submitted Don't Mess with Bunnies to Little Girl Lost, and they were like, doesn't fit, but we like it.
That's all you need. It's just a yes. It doesn't have to be the exact what you're going for, but
Exactly. I mean, I was talking to him about it last time, and it was like, do you think that like I kind of like think sometimes like when I've had stuff rejected and then it's been picked up for something else, it's kind of been in a better position. I mean, he was like, yeah, I got rejected for an anthology, but then I got a book with my name on it.
yeah, it's just that kind of seems that's the next step up, and of course you're going to take that. So
Yeah, exactly.
it all worked out for the best. So I'm completely happy with it.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's the first thing you wrote.
Yeah, that's
and it's out with its own cover and its own your name on the front. I mean, that must be a pretty big deal, man.
The biggest shock was seeing my name on it for the first time. I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is.
It's almost surreal for a minute, isn't it? And then it makes everything else real. It's kind of like,
oh. I just sort of looked around and like, it's there, and I was okay, I can get used to this. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's like I can actually call myself a writer now. Look.
So it was a very, very cool process, and I'm looking forward to the future and see what happens. And I imagine with you, I was looking through your complete bibliography you posted on your page.
Oh yeah.
You've got stuff on stuff there, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is where I want to be. So I'm looking forward to
go for it, man. That's all I can ever say to people when they're like, people have asked me my opinion and like asked me for some advice. It's like, just go for it. Just seriously go for it, because I didn't think for a minute I would have even a fraction of that stuff published. I mean, when I started, I wasn't even thinking about publishing. I was just writing to stop myself going mad.
Yeah.
It was just, I need to get this thing out of my head. Just go away.
It's on the page, and then it's out of there, and you forget about it. And then next thing you know, someone wants to print it. You're like, oh,
yeah,
all right, sure.
Yeah, and then on to the next thing, and on to the next thing, and
it never ends, though, does it? There's always something cooking up.
Yeah, hopefully not. I hope it never ends. Otherwise, I'm screwed. Yeah, so after that, I mean, what have you kind of got? What have you been working on lately? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so I actually completed a novel.
Nice.
I think the third or fourth draft. I've kind of lost count at this point. So it's not totally finished and polished, but it's getting there.
Novels, man, it gets like that, doesn't it?
It's
I think I'm up to about 8 drafts on the one I'm working on at a minute.
Over and over, you read the same page, and it turns to sludge after a while.
Yeah, it's like fucking Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. Over and over. You can't escape it because you need to get it done. But
exactly. Yeah.
It's a struggle, that's for sure. And just a couple short stories, and I don't know if we can talk about it, but recently Mannison Press is going to do another anthology, so I've been invited to partake in that. So I've got some cooking up. So we'll see what happens with that.
Nice, yeah. I think I may have been invited to the same thing. So we maybe end up sharing his table of contents soon. So
that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I found myself working quite a bit with Mannison now because I really like them. And
you're burning reflection recently.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So it's just, I mean, you seem to be the go-to guy. You always got something going on.
It's basically because I've basically sat here for like 2 years because I started writing when I developed a spinal condition, and I ended up not being, because I was a chef since I left school at 16, and I got to the point where I can't work anymore. So it was kind of like, I need to do something to stop myself going mad. So basically like 2.5 years, all I've done is sit in front of my laptop typing words.
Wow.
It's just like, I'm just going to keep typing and hope for the best.
And then next one, and they just pile up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I actually love the process of writing. It never feels like work to me, which is, I hope it never does.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? You're supposed to wanna do it and be thinking about it and constantly, thinking of ideas and plots, and that's just sort of that's what comes with the job.
Yeah.
So it's just it's I find myself really enjoying it after I got started, and I hope to.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously hitting the right something. I mean, to have your first thing you've written like published, like it I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I wrote, it will probably never even see the light of day because basically it's
back in the archives.
because basically it's crap. So
well, you improved at least, you know that.
Exactly. That was my sort of thing. I'm just going to keep writing and writing. Nah, it's rubbish. Keep writing. Nah, it's rubbish. Oh, that's all right. I'll send that somewhere. Yeah. So, I mean, how would you describe "Oh Sister, Where Art Thou" without giving, without any spoilers or anything like that? Give us the pitch.
I feel like I should already have this prepared since I wrote it, and it's been so long. But I would say,
it's like that, isn't it? I mean, I've had that. People go, "Oh, tell me about this." It's like, I honestly can't remember.
I would say it's just a story about hope, kind of. Yeah, I'd say like just something traumatic happens, and you keep the hope stays alive, regardless of anything you've seen or read or experienced. For all the naysayers and mystery. You just hope for something, and then I feel like in this story, the main character, Mike, he definitely he has that hope, and it doesn't go away even after the events.
Nice.
I'd say that's probably the best way to.
Excellent.
And there's also a few twists and turns in there. I think just for good measure. So I hope it's not predictable ending.
No, I mean, the thing is, I mean, that is something. I mean, if you're writing that kind of thing, I think your protagonist needs to have that hope.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the hook.
Yeah,
that's the hook, isn't it?
It can't lead anywhere, right? Like if everything's lost, then what's the
no. If he doesn't hope for, if he's not got even a sliver of hope, then he's dead in the water, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and it's just not interesting, and then
yeah. Because that's just not dramatic, is it? So
what's the point? So that's definitely important to have.
Yeah. So this novel you're writing, is it a similar kind of deal, or is it what sort of genre is it?
So this one is horror.
Nice.
I enjoy horror the most, and then fantasy and sci-fi on its heels. But I like horror. I enjoy horror movies, horror literature. So I thought I'd give it a try. And,
I'm the same. I mean, as soon as I was just like, I'm gonna write horror, lots of horror. I've strayed into other genres, but horror will always be my baby.
You always come back to it, right? It's what you know. So
yeah,
I read horror, so I figured.
Yeah,
I like it. I write it. Well,
yes,
what it is.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's like because I mean, I'm growing up, I was a big fan of reading horror, but I was a huge fan of the horror movies. I mean, I still love all of that stuff today. I mean, I'm always trolling Netflix for really dodgy horror movies. I love all that. It's just like I love that video games and all that kind of thing. So it was going to happen.
It's like, exactly. It's almost a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's in your DNA almost. You gravitate towards that, so you enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like I've done a couple of things where I've been asked to if I could do like things for certain genres, and there's certain things that I've had to turn down, not because it's a bad idea, just purely because I don't think I could do it, and I could probably do it, but it would be a struggle, and basically because it isn't my cup of tea. And I'm just saying, look, I'm going to have to turn that down because, I mean, you won't be getting my best work because I'm not invested in it.
Yeah,
I think
it feels like work at that point. If you're writing something or even reading something you don't enjoy,
yes,
it's just not good. You don't like it, and like you said, you're not going to produce your best work. And as a writer, that's always what you strive for, is your best, number one.
Definitely.
So I totally understand that.
Yeah. So like, so what are your biggest influences then? I mean, like, what like the horror you grew up with? What really floats your boat, man?
I think the obvious would be Stephen King. He's the guy, right? He's the go-to.
He's a genius. I mean, yeah.
And even I really enjoy Michael Crichton. He's not really he's horror-esque, but he does throw a little pinch in it with some techno thriller.
I mean, so because I've not read a lot of his stuff, but I've read bits and pieces, and there has been some stuff that's really surprised me because some of it has got really bloody dark.
He goes and he's from a medical background, so he throws in all the science that is not only believable, but some of it is actually what's in the world around us. So it's very cool how we can intertwine a narrative with real science that doesn't make it boring, and then add the horror elements into it to give you a little fright there. Oh,
definitely. Yeah, no, I'm yeah.
I'm trying to think movie-wise, there's a whole bunch of I'd say Nightmare on Elm Street. All of those.
One of my favorites to this day is one of my favorite films. I love that movie, man.
He's a great villain, and it's just
there
can't be 80s and 90s movies at the heart, but it's still just a terrifying villain, right? Like a guy
I think I've always thought that camp and horror kind of go hand in hand. Because I mean, I grew up watching all the old 1960s and 70s Hammer horror movies.
Oh, okay,
And the original Universal Dracula movies with Bela Lugosi and all that. They're always like camp as Christmas. But I think they go hand in hand, because one minute you're sort of chuckling, and the next minute you're going, Jesus Christ,
And at the time, back when that was a new release, that was terrifying. That was groundbreaking. Like nobody had seen that before, and it was frightening. You still have to respect the foundation that was laid before you.
It's all about the tension. I mean, they couldn't rely on effects and big ass explosions, loads of bloody big film scores. They had to rely on shadow.
They used what they had, and they did it to great effect. So it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that kind of thing. It was sort of like, I remember the first Nightmare on Elm Street film, that beginning sequence where Tina's in a nightie and she's walking down that tunnel, and that bloody lamb comes out from under that sheet or whatever it is. I remember the first time I saw that, I nearly shat myself. Like,
Well, you're not expecting it, right? Like, you don't know, you're going in blind.
Yeah.
You have no idea what to expect, and it's there right from the beginning. They don't.
I mean, that set the scene for the whole thing. That whole opening scene, it was just like, I remember when it had happened, and it would cut back to they're going to school and all this. I was like, right, how are they going to top that?
Yeah.
Because that was pretty damn good.
And I think it's the ending scene where he pulls her through the window.
That got me as well, because you just don't expect it, do you?
It's gonna be, that's it. It's game over. That's it. And then all of a sudden, boom, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, we're not.
Yeah, and then the lid goes up on the caddy, with the green and red stripes. It's like, that's classic.
And even the remake wasn't that.
I quite liked the remake. I quite liked it, but
they didn't have the original classic Robert Englund.
If it was Robert Englund, I'd have loved it. I mean, that was my only gripe about it, really. But I thought they did a good job of it, because that could have been a hell of a lot worse. It could have been a hell of a lot worse.
And I think that was sort of the main gripe a lot of people had, was that it was, people thought it sort of disrespected it because it didn't have, the original in there. But you can't. It's been so long that
No, I know. I mean, I got why they did it. And to be fair, watching it as a film, as just on its own, I thought it was great. The first time I watched it, I hated it. It was like, because my brain was going, "This isn't Nightmare on Elm Street."
Yeah,
You know.
You're already, predisposed to a negative.
Yeah, and the
time.
fact that they changed some of Freddy's backstory and that, I was like, "That's not how it happened." You know what we're like, fanboys. You know,
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
grab the pitchfork and just
Yeah, pitchforks. Yeah, no, I know, definitely. I thought the guy who played Freddy did a damn good job of it, though.
Yeah, he did. I can't remember his name off the top of my
I
head.
can't remember his name off the top of my head. I don't think I think it's one of those sort of names that I struggle with, like to pronounce anyway. But he did a fantastic job in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, he even injected a bit of like sympathy into Freddy.
Yeah.
I actually felt for Freddy a bit. You know what I mean? It's just like
he's just you feel for him and you kind of feel a little.
And then you get sucked in. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just, I guess, that's a sign of good writing. Even,
right? Yeah. Well. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, because I mean, you mentioned that in films are a big influence on you, and they are on me as well. I mean, I mean, video games are a big influence on me. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Silent Hill franchise.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
I mean, the stories in those bloody things. It's just the way they manipulate your emotion to make you feel really uncomfortable.
They make you feel like you're crazy at times.
Yeah.
The best ones, and that's just like, I've never felt that before, and that's not nice.
Yeah. So I remember one of the first time, because I played the first one on the original PlayStation. I remember the first time I played, the reason I bought a PS2 was so I could play Silent Hill 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember the first time I played it and I got to the end of it and I sat there like in shock for about like a good few hours just going, what the fuck? You know, the twist in that, and it was just like, what?
Yeah, those are just like I'd say next level in terms of like writing and then atmosphere too, and it pulls you in the whole world building around, Silent Hill and what it is and what happens.
Yeah.
They got some nutty stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, I love them on so many levels, and it all boils down to that writing. And I mean, because I basically something I think of when I'm writing something of a psychological piece. I mean, I'm constantly thinking, think Silent Hill. How can I really fuck with people's expectations? How can I make the people reading this feel really, really uncomfortable?
If you do that well, then you're successful. Like that's very hard to do. Is just to hit that nerve.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I aspire to, man. I mean,
there's kid crawls and they want to get to the end so that they're done with it. Like that's if you can hit that nail on the head, then you got a bright future. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so do you play? Are you a bit of a gamer going on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't play as much as I used to. When I was a teenager.
I don't think we all do. I don't.
Life gets in the way.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I tend to play as much as I can. So I recently finished Resident Evil 7. I don't know if you played for any of the Resident Evil games. But,
I've played them all. I mean, I'm so looking forward to Village, but
I watched the playable demo or whatever they had out.
Oh, Maiden, yeah, because I haven't got a PS5, so I watched the demo as well.
And that's all I'm looking at. I'm trying to avoid reading anything. I want to go with blinders on and just experience it. So
looks brilliant though, that doesn't it? That looks superb. But that's something that like Resident Evil 7 for me is one of my all-time favorite horror video games, just because it's bloody terrifying.
I waited. I didn't get it right away. I waited till it was on sale at reduced price, so I picked it
up. Yeah.
And
I do that. I can't afford to buy video games when they just come out. I mean, I've got to eat, man.
And I went into it, and they transitioned from the third person to the first through 7. So I knew a little bit about it. But yeah, I went in and it's just like I wanted it to end because there were some spots where I was on edge, but it was a great game. It was just
it was done. I thought they'd done it because I mean they took because I mean I don't think anybody will argue with this, like me saying this, that it got a bit tired, the Resident Evil series. With 5 and 6, I mean, I actually going against the grain, I actually quite enjoyed some of 6. I thought some of it was really, really good, like the Leon campaign was awesome. And I liked Ada's bit as well. But then those really big action, like the big chase sequences with, I can't even remember his name, Josh or whatever it was. It just kind of killed it for me because it was just like,
it was
bored now.
Way too action. It wasn't a Resident Evil, right? Like I don't know.
No, but that first bit with Leon, I thought, oh, this is gonna be good because that was proper Resident Evil. That was, it's just, and then it just went really sideways. Yeah. So when they said they were going to do it first person, and they've taken another one of my favorite like modern horror games is the Outlast games. I love them bloody things, and I've actually called them before heart attack simulators. It's just like they're just bonkers. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And the minute I played the demo, the beginning hour demo they put up before they released Resident Evil 7, it was basically like the videotape, the Clancy videotape about them going to the guest house. It was basically that, but slightly different. And I was just like, oh my God, this is great. That's just
the way to go. Like, just give people enough of a taste where they're psyched for it, and then well, that's it for now. We'll see here.
Yeah, but I actually take those as a really good exercise in how to build tension, and because I mean, like we as writers we read, but we also we watch, and I think the video games being for me at least are quite a big influence in the way I try and build scenes, because I kind of see I kind of visualize through my protagonist's eyes. What about this guy walking into this room? He can see this, he can see that, he can see that. What the fuck happened there?
Exactly. What is he thinking? What's he gonna do next?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, do you think that do you kind of use them in that kind of situation, or?
Yeah, I would say that video games is definitely a good media to draw inspiration from. Like you said, the Outlast series, I recently finished the first one. I haven't got to the second one yet. But even the beginning.
Make sure you play the DLC. Make sure you play Whistleblower.
Yeah, okay. That's on my list.
Because that is my favorite. Is Whistleblower. Okay. It is so disturbing. I'm not going to ruin any of it.
It was already too intense.
Like, yeah. Oh no, this just takes disturbing to a whole new level, man.
Oh, don't tell me that. I gotta play it now.
Yeah. But then Outlast 2 is more like Resident Evil 7 because it's like a different setting. It's not in the asylum. It's a rural setting. Well, there's about the
asylum, and they're just people chasing you. And the first moment where you open up the door to that library, and the guy just swings down right in front of you. I draw my controller. I'm like, oh no, okay, I gotta take a break. This is it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think I screamed like a little girl. Like, ah!
So it's just things like that can just get your mind going, and really you can learn from it. And I hope to emulate that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like if I'm writing something which is very sort of like a more sort of traditional, because I write a lot of cosmic stuff. But if I'm writing a more sort of traditional sort of horror, kind of thing, I try and think like the video game if I can. It sounds weird. I can't really explain it very well, but I try. It's just like, how would the developer line up the jump scare?
But it works for you that way, right? Like it's just
I mean, I think we're all kind of magpies, aren't we? writers. We'll just take inspiration from wherever we find it.
Exactly. Pull it from wherever you can and just
Yeah.
sort of mix it together and see what you got.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
so much you can take, inspiration from in terms of, especially, horror writing. There's so much media out there that's just
Totally.
ideas on ideas that you can twist and turn and manipulate to make it your own. It's very exciting and fun to see where the next big hit comes from and what you can make of that.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, like you mentioned Stephen King, and something I've always really admired about him is how much he's evolved over the years. Like when he started out and all the rest of it, and it was more like kind of the quieter, kind of more cerebral, and then he kind of went through all. I mean, it's like I don't know whether he's evolved with the times or the times have evolved with him. It's like The Shining. You read it, and it's just like it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
To this day, I mean, I still reading that. I remember I read that as a kid, and but I think the impact Stephen King has had on especially video, like especially on films, on movies. I mean, even if you don't take into account the ones that are based on his work, I mean, his influence is just everywhere.
Which is countless number.
Yeah, it's hundreds of them by now, isn't it? Let's face it. Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a fan. I was always a big fan of King. I was always more of a fan of his short stories rather than his novels.
Yeah, his collections are very good. It's a wide range. It's not just strictly horror or thriller or anything like that. He does a wide variety, and you can appreciate that because that just shows that he can adapt to what.
Yeah, I mean, I gravitated to him naturally because he's a big Lovecraft fan. Stephen King. I mean, he grew up reading it and all that kind of thing, and some of his stories actually fit into the Cthulhu mythos. So I gravitated to him naturally, being a massive Lovecraft nut.
I was just going to say, I mean, you're the guy who would know, right? So
Yeah. I mean, his Cthulhu mythos stories. I mean, Crouch End is a masterpiece of cosmic horror. Yeah, it's in. Crouch End is in.
Because I have a big backlog of his stuff I'm trying to get through, so it just hasn't fallen in my hand.
I think Crouch End is in Nightmares and Dreamscapes. But then there's Jerusalem's Lot, not Salem's Lot, Jerusalem's Lot, which is the proper Cthulhu mythos piece. It's even got the Necronomicon in it. I mean, and that's in Skeleton Crew because I mean, when I was a kid, I had Night Shift and Skeleton Crew. They were my first introductions to King, and things like the Mist is in one of those, and
yes,
the Raft is one that nobody ever mentions. Nobody ever mentions the Raft, but that was bloody terrifying because I was member of this is when I was at primary school, and I was member of the club sailing group.
Okay. That hits home for you. That's nightmare.
Yeah. So there's me. I've just read the bloody Raft, and I'm in a boat with one of my mates.
And you're just looking around you and
oh shit!
And that's one of those stories that is just, like you said before, just builds tension. The course of every sentence just adds a little bit, and the next thing you know, it's the end of the story.
Yeah, it's something I think he's so good at is just twisting that spring until it breaks, and then it all goes to hell. It's like have you read Revival? Because that's one of his more recent cosmic horror ones.
Okay.
I mean,
I didn't know I didn't realize it was cosmic horror.
Yeah, it's it's got references to the Divermis Mysteries, Mysteries of the Worm, which was part of the original thing. It's I'm not going to ruin it because it's just got the cosmic horror vibe to it is brilliant, and I think that for me, is one of the best examples of King just twisting it and twisting it and twisting it until you're sitting there and you're jumping, but nothing's happened. And you're just sort of going, oh, just do it, you bucket, just do it. Put me out of my misery, man. You know?
Yeah, he's just, I mean, he's just next level, right? Like it's the stuff he puts out is, I mean, you know, some of it's fantastic and other stuff's so-so. But overall, I think that he's just, you know, he's one of the best. And obviously, I feel like anyone who's a reader or reads his stuff feels similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think with King, I mean, it's like, even if it's not your cup of tea, like a certain book, I mean, there's some books he's written that are great books, but they're just not my thing.
Yeah.
But you still know that there's genius in there. And then the ones that hit you here, it's like, oh man, there's nothing, you know. It's like, so apart from like King, I mean, who else is a big sort of horror draw for you writer-wise?
I mean, I mentioned Crate.
Yeah, you mentioned, yeah.
But more, I mean, I'm looking forward to reading all the old Shirley Jackson stories.
Nice.
I haven't got to them yet, and I know.
Have you not? Oh, you're in for a
but,
treat.
You know, from what I've heard of her stories and what I know about them, it's just she was sort of the pioneer of what.
Yeah, you're in for a treat there. I mean, because I read all those when I was a kid, but I went back to them fairly recently because I was reading an article because I was writing something and I was consumed with desire to try and figure out how to do the literary equivalent of a jump scare, right? I get these ideas, but it turns out Shirley Jackson nailed it. Because she uses breathing techniques in how she writes. Yeah, there's a bit in Haunting of Hill House where it's like I think the sentence is like it's the longest sentence in history or something, and it's part of like one of the longest paragraphs in history because like you're reading. When you're reading, you kind of hold your breath as if you're talking. So if it's a long sentence, you're holding your breath because you're still saying it in your head. So you're holding your breath as if you're talking. So she would do these enormous sentences. And then when something happens, she would cut them sentences down to like 3 words, 2 words, staccato, because that makes you pant.
Interesting.
So basically, she's trying to make you hyperventilate.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, that's clever. So I had to read through it, and I was just like, oh man. So yeah, I got a lot from that because I've tried to do that in some of the stuff I've written as well. And my partner says, yeah, it does actually work. It's not rubbish. It does work.
That's so interesting, like how just mimic something that we do every single day, like every second, right? Like you have to breathe, and like use that against.
Turn it against you. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's one of the things I would say. Shirley Jackson was a pioneer on them techniques of really like fucking with you, you know. Yeah. Because I was reading it in bed, and I'm there and going. That's what, and a ghost and a bird and a bird and a bird. The book goes up in the air, you know. Yeah, it seems to work. I mean, yeah. So yeah, well, you'll have to let me know when you've read it. You'll have to let me know if it gets you. You'll have to let me know if it gets you because it got me. So. Yeah, so I mean, how long have you actually been? You said it was like the first thing you wrote. So how long have you been doing it now?
So that would have been, I wrote that in January of last year.
Yeah.
So ever since, so about a a year and a bit.
Excellent.
I used to write a little bit when I was a kid, just doing whatever, as children do.
As we do, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was the first sort of serious thing where I sat down and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and let's see where it goes.
Damn it, I'm doing it. Yeah.
And then I finished it, do a little bit every day, and next thing you know, Mannison Press picked it up, and I've just been doing it.
Yeah. I
I
think a lot of us start the same way, because I pretty much started exactly the same sort of way. So I hadn't written for since I was at school, and then I was just like, I'm just going to give it a go. I've got this idea, and So yeah, I mean, you said you've written a few short stories. I mean, have they been picked up yet, or are you looking for homes for those? Or
currently looking for homes.
Yeah,
a couple I've been sent off, so I'm just sort of waiting to hear back.
That agonizing wait.
Especially, they have a backlog of people they have to get through, and then you're waiting.
Oh yeah, I mean, so the thing is, some of them have a really quick turnaround, and then others, it's like just put me out my misery.
There's even times where it's like I forget I submitted to them. It's been like, okay,
do that.
I go to work and this and that, and then I get an email. I'm like, oh, I completely forgot.
Yeah, I actually forgot about. I got one of them the other day. I'd completely forgotten. I got a rejection from somebody, and I was just like, I don't even remember sending them that. It's like it must have been about a year ago. I'd completely forgotten about it.
And then you get it, you read it like, oh, okay, and then you just
rejections are part of the game, aren't they, man? I mean,
it is, yeah. I feel like there's not a lot of. That's sort of the biggest thing with writing, especially short stories or flash fiction or whatever you do. Is everyone gets rejected, right?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, it's like my first one got published, but since then it's just rejection.
Yep.
It is what it is, right? Eventually.
Yeah. I mean, that's not just you. That's all of us. It's just
I feel that's a big deterrent, especially to newer writers. Is they write like you said yourself, and they just think it's not good, and they just sort of shove it away. But put it out there and see what happens. You never know.
I mean, I never get rid of anything, and I'll go back to things like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months later, because I'll see a submission window for something open up, and I'll go, hang on, I've written something that might work for that, and then I've done it again and sent it out, and it's been published. And there's stories. I mean, there's stuff that I submitted, I'm not even kidding you. I'm talking about like 12, 15 times I've submitted like a couple of stories and thought, you know what, maybe this is crap. And then it'll just get picked up because it's often a lottery. It's a case of getting the right thing to the right publisher at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. And you can write a story today, and then, like you said, a year and a half from now, an anthology could open up and you submit it on a whim, and the next thing you know, you're in it. And you're like, oh, it all works out in the end. You just have to go for it and not be afraid of that initial.
Precisely. Yeah, precisely, mate. Yeah, spot on. I mean, I couldn't say that better myself. You've just got to, because I think there is a certain amount of fear. I mean, because none of us likes rejection. Nobody likes it.
At the base of humans, it's fear of rejection is the number one fear.
Oh yeah, it's part of the DNA, isn't it? It's just like
you freeze up and you don't know what to do, and that's it. And then you don't know how to handle it, but let it roll off your shoulders. And
you just got to deal with it. I mean,
you just have to jump in head first and see what happens. That's all you can do.
Definitely, yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's but it's with the whole rejection thing. I mean, I think it makes you better anyway.
Yeah,
especially to begin with, because you'll take, if something's been rejected. I don't know if everybody does the same, but what I will do is I'll pull it up as soon as it's rejected. I'll go, oh, fuck, and I'll look at it. I'll pull it up on the computer and go, no, that bit's good. I don't. Bollocks. Missed the absolute clanger there, I think it makes you better at editing.
because you're more critical because you go with, all right, well, why did this fail? Why did I get it?
Exactly, because you no longer think, because I mean, I think we all do to a degree, oh, this is great when you're writing it or whatever, and then when it gets rejected, you go, maybe it wasn't so great. Hang on a minute, let's have a look. Oh crap. And you'll spot some howler, you know.
It's more, I feel like it's more unbiased that way because, you know, you may write it and think it's fantastic, send it off, get rejected, and then you look at it more critically, like, okay, well, that doesn't really make much sense, or you should have cut this. And
that bit was, I mean, I'm very wordy. I mean, my style, because I mean, obviously coming from like, I'm a fan of Lovecraft and Blackwood and Machen and all these old guys whose prose was incredibly purple. So I am quite wordy, and when I get things back, I'll go, oh man, you didn't need that bit, you didn't need that bit, you didn't need that bit. Yeah, get the scissors out. Yeah. I mean, I think that's it's a practice I try and do more of these days, is try and cut more, because I mean I never throw anything away, so just keep lots of drafts, because you can cut bits, and if you don't like it, you just restore the last draft.
Yeah, exactly, and no one's the wiser, right? Nobody.
Exactly. There's something I should have thought about years ago. It's just like, why wasn't I doing that years ago? It's like, you know. But we're all learning all the time, you know.
Yeah, you learn. I think it's cliche, but you learn something new every day. So
yeah, you really do.
Just about whether you choose to apply it and actually, you know, develop it. So
yeah, not everything you learn is going to be good. Not everything you learn is going to be for you. You know, some things you might learn might be complete bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as long as you can understand and filter that, then your goal.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, because what sort of background do you come from? Do you ever study English or any of that kind of business?
I'm more of a, I would say, business,
right?
Communications background.
Right. Yeah.
I graduated school with recreation sports business. So
okay. Cool.
You know, learn the back end of the sport industry and how to sort of manage resources and stuff like that. So English was sort of high school. I dreaded, you know, going in, reading Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
all these old plays. I didn't care for it. But and in university, I took a superhero course, which I thought was pretty neat. So yeah,
they teach you how to be Superman.
pretty much.
Okay, explain this to me. This sounds brilliant.
So we read a bunch of, you know, pop culture and comic books. You know, we watched Blade Runner. We read a whole bunch of different, you know, superhero or sort of the term, but it's like, you know, the hero's journey type deal.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that, you know, piqued my interest because, you know, I like superhero, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC stuff. You know, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm a fan myself. So yeah.
And it's, you know, from there it just kind of grew, and you know, I read more, and as you read more, you get ideas, and it just sort of,
you start soaking it in, don't you? Yeah.
It just marinates, and then, you know, I try to read a little bit every day, and just,
that's brilliant. That sounds great. That sounds awesome fun.
Got a good grade, and it padded my GPA, so it's, you know, it's a win-win for everybody.
Nice. Why don't we have stuff like that when I was at school, man? We had Merchant of Venice, and that was about it.
Start a petition or something. You know?
Yeah. Although saying that, I did do a essay on the turn of the screw, Henry James, while I was at school.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with it.
Basically, because I was sulking, and my teacher basically went, right, okay, what do you want to do it on?
Do something, find something you like, do it.
Yeah. Here's the syllabus. You can do whatever you want, or just off that list. Just stop moaning. I'll do that. This is like, oh God, do I really have to do Romeo and Juliet again? Because I'd already done it like 2 years before. It's just like,
and it's like, how many times can you read it and analyze it? And
yeah.
It's always the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, but again, it's what you're into, isn't it? And I just had, I mean, that sort of doomed, tragic love affair stuff, that's not really my thing, you know. Give me something with tentacles and tentacles and blood and guts, and that'll do me. But yeah, so Turn of the Screw was more my cup of tea because it's really, really twisted. So it is one of the most disturbing things you'll probably ever read. So yes, that was much. Oh, it's great. It's classic. Yeah, it's really good. It's one of those slow burns.
That, see, and those are, I enjoy those.
Yeah.
Even more than the boom, boom, boom. Stuff
Me
happens,
too.
Scary. The slow tension build up, and it's
Me too. I mean, like again, it comes from being a fan of Lovecraft and all that kind of thing. And that was something I consciously tried to do with Burning Reflection, was try and go for that slow build. But Turn of the Screw is one of them books. It's like somebody like tickling the back of your head with a feather. It's really uncomfortable. It's just like something not right here. There's something, I don't know what it is yet, but there's something really fucking wrong here. I love that kind of thing. And again, it goes back to like my love of Silent Hill, because despite all of the otherworld bits of the monsters and in your face, the story is incredibly slow burning. It's a drip feeds you revelations as you're going along.
And you have to find them, and then it's a little taste. And then, the next crumb's over here, and then But then once you add them all together, it creates this puzzle that's just like, what is going on? I don't like this. What? Stop it.
Yeah. I think they're absolutely just perfection. Like in, because I mean, again, it's a different medium, isn't it? But the principles
you're
I get,
experiencing it, like you control it. So it's almost like a build your own adventure type book, but in a game form. Like it's interactive, and you can, you don't have to necessarily go collect these things, but it adds the lore and it adds the story, and it just adds that much more tension because you understand the past and the future.
Like I say, Outlast is another one like that you don't have to go and try and find all the logs and all the diary pages and the Murkoff reports and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to find them, but if you do,
you read some seriously messed up stuff.
Yeah, and it just builds it. And I think that's clever, because there is going to be gamers, probably younger gamers, like teenagers. I mean, I was the same when I was a teenager. You know what you like. You want the right, done. Done. You're impatient as hell once you're a teenager, aren't you? Yeah, I think it's a hormonal thing, isn't it? It's just like you just haven't got the fucking patience for anything. It's just like I want it now. But as you get older, it's like you really appreciate more that the creeping around aspect and going, oh, I wonder what's in here. Oh crap! No, maybe not in there. What in here?
And I think you appreciate the time that the creator put into it to make it what it is. I feel like as a teenager, like you said, you just you get through it and get through the main story of the game, and that's it. But I find as an adult, I just sort of walk around and look at stuff.
Yeah, you do, don't you? I mean, I do that too.
Look at that tree. Some guy spent an hour designing that tree. It looks great.
Resident Evil 7. I did that. The beginning bit when you're walking to the
kitchen.
Yeah. When you walk, like the bit before, when you're walking to the bit, the kitchen, past the van and all that, down that path. Look at the trees. That's amazing.
There's crows flying around, and you're just all sound, and it's insane.
And then the house sort of looms up out of nowhere. It's just like, oh my god, that's impressive.
Menacing and foreboding, and
you look at that cobweb. This is like somebody spent hours making that cobweb.
Yeah, exactly. And they appreciate that you took the 25 seconds extra to look at it.
Yeah, to look at that cobweb. Yeah. I'd always do that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that kind of just walking around, and sometimes it gets me in a lot of trouble in video games because I'm too busy looking around at things, and then something kills me.
You're supposed to be doing this, and you're
it's like you're supposed to be paying attention, but I'm too busy looking at something.
And just looking at those those miniature details, I feel can help you in writing too. You can skip. You're writing a scene, and then all of a sudden you added these tiny details.
Yes.
Just add that much more, and make it more vivid, and then increase better overall.
I totally agree. There's something I try and do in it's like this. It's what I kind of class as second draft stuff. Like your first draft, you're getting the bones of it down and all the rest of it, and then your second draft, you're adding the cobwebs, you're adding the dust and the mildew and the creepy ass stew. Yeah, no.
The lid to the pot and it's all.
Yeah. Yeah, when I played that, I had to. It was something I was writing at the time, and I had to put. It happened to be set in a kitchen, so I had to put a creepy stew pot moment in it, just as a bit of a homage, Excellent. Well, sir, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been absolute. Yeah, no worries, man. It's been absolutely brilliant. Yes. So, you people at home, if you want to get hold of Connor's book, "Oh Sister, Where Art Thou?" I still love that title. Here's a link. You could go getbook.at/sister, where art thou. That's getbook.at/sister, where art thou. All of these links I'll put underneath the YouTube video, and there will be graphics as well. Shiny. If you want to keep up to date with what this talented young man is doing, then if you check him out on Instagram, it is @CRKWriter, and Twitter, it's the same thing, but it's a capital C, a capital R, and a capital K writer. So CRK Writer. Excellent. That's something I've got a Twitter. I got it very recently. I finally gave it a peer pressure, and I swear I'll start using it. I promise.
It's hard, You're not used to it. You got to go in and do all these hashtags and all this.
That's the bit I don't get. Everything else I can figure out. Fucking hashtags. I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do with them.
Just start putting random letters and just see what.
Yeah, I'm a hashtag clueless. I don't know. So, as usual, I am Tim Mendes, which is timmendeswriter.wordpress.com. I also I've recently started a newsletter. Sign up. I'll keep people up to date with stuff. That's tinyurl.com/Tim Mendes newsletter. I'll be keeping people up to date with the After Hours series and various other things, plus publications and all that kind of business. So, Connor, it's been a pleasure, sir.
It has. It's a fantastic chat, and thank you
Excellent.
for having me.
No, thank you very much for coming on.
We can keep in touch after this.
Yes, please do. Yeah, you have to keep in touch, because you need to tell me if Shirley Jackson gets you.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I'm going to keep that in mind when I read it. Yes.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me that. Yeah, definitely. No, I think we've got quite a bit in common anyway. So yeah, keep in touch, man. And yes, excellent. Yeah, and again, thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next time on After Hours. Take it easy, people.